Good afternoon, everyone. This is the April 18th, 2024 Zoning Board of Adjustment regular meeting. My name is Matt Perry, and I'm chair of the board. I will now call this meeting to order and ask the clerk to call the roll so that we may verify the presence of quorum.
And just a kind reminder to unmute your mic since we're dealing with some issues and we want to make sure everyone is heard and on the captioning service. But with that, Board Member Callahan.
Present.
Eichholz.
Present.
Grants Korsch.
Present.
Hutchins.
Aye.
Ingram.
Aye.
Johannesson.
Aye.
Chair Perry.
Here.
Smikatova.
Aye.
And Vice Chair Wing.
Here.
We have 9 members present.
Thank you. We do have quorum. With that, we'll proceed to our agenda, a copy of which was posted for public access to the city's legislative information management system, available at lims.minneapolismn.gov. Is there a motion to approve this agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any against indicate by saying nay. Any abstentions? That motion passes and the agenda is approved. I believe all the board members have seen a copy of the minutes from March 28th, 2024 Zoning Board of Adjustment meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any against indicate by saying nay. Any abstentions? If you were not here at the last meeting, you should abstain.
Hutchins abstain.
Perry
Ingram
abstains. Oh, I'm sorry.
Ingram abstains.
And Ingram abstains. That motion passes. The minutes from the Zoning Board of Adjustments March 28th, 2024 meeting are approved. Mr. Liska, are there any petitions or communications?
Chair Perry, there are no petitions or communications.
Thank you very much. A reminder to applicants and others, if you're going to speak at the public hearing, please sign in on the sheet provided by the clerk. Where is that located?
That is right here.
All right. If you haven't signed in already, you can do so on your way out. Also to applicants and others, please contact staff after the hearing with any questions regarding your projects. Let's review the agenda. I will read the agenda number and address of the project and state whether it's slated for consent, continuance, withdrawal, return, or discussion. Consent items are those that will be passed without discussion by the board. We will be adhering to the staff recommendation found on your agenda under the items recommended motion section. Importantly, any applicable conditions will be listed in the same section. If you agree with this recommendation, including any applicable conditions, you need to do nothing, and the board will pass it as recommended. After an item is passed on consent, you're free to leave the chambers. Please check in with the staff member assigned to that item if you have questions following the decision. If you disagree with the recommendation, please indicate you'd like to speak against that item when I ask, and we'll put it on the discussion agenda. Discussion items. These are items that the board will take public testimony, deliberate on, and then make a decision. After public testimony has been heard for each particular discussion item, I will close the public hearing for that agenda item. Once I close the public hearing for an item, no additional public testimony will be taken, but staff may be asked to address board questions. After the public hearing for an item is closed, board members then will discuss and act on motions, and the chair only votes in the case of a tie. We have 4 land use requests items on our agenda. Agenda item number 5 is 132 31st Avenue Northeast. This item is being withdrawn, and approval of the agenda with this item on it acknowledges this, and no further action on the part of the board is required. Agenda item number 6 is 625 Van Buren Street Northeast. Staff is recommending this item for consent. Is there anyone to speak against this item? I see no one. And agenda item number 7 is 45 13th Drew Avenue South. This is a discussion item. Agenda number 8 is 5712 Cedar Avenue South. Staff is recommending this item for consent. Is there anyone to speak against this item? I see no one. Let's review the items on the agenda for consent. They are items number 6 and 8. Is there a motion to adopt these items on consent?
So moved.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any against indicate by saying nay. Any abstentions? With that, the motion passes. So if you were here for items 6 or 8, your land use requests are approved. Good luck with your projects, and thanks for coming down. Let's move on to agenda item number 7. This is 4513 Drew Avenue South. Mr. Liska.
Good afternoon, Chair, board members. The application before you again is located at 4513 Drew Avenue. The applicant is seeking a couple of setback variances associated with an existing accessory structure associated with the construction of a new single-family home. A single-family home and detached garage exist on site today. The garage is accessed off of a front curb cut off of Drew Avenue, as there is no alley access on this parcel. The garage is 0.5 feet from the front lot line and 2.1 feet from the south interior side lot line. There's a change in topography on site. The grade is higher on the south side. It tapers down as you move north. And the existing structure on site, the accessory structure, partially serves as a retaining wall, retaining grade higher on the adjacent lot to the south. This lot and several lots in this area are not served by alleys. That makes the built form in this area a little different than other parts of the city. It's not uncommon to see front curb cuts, front-loaded garages, driveways, and other detached accessory structures in front yards. The applicant is proposing to demolish the existing house and build a new house. From the zoning code perspective, when the single-family home is removed on site, all nonconformities are lost, and specifically the location of the existing detached garage. The applicant is proposing the new house. That new house complies with all zoning code standards. They are proposing that the existing structure on site be converted into a bike storage area. The existing overhead door would be removed. The front curb cut would be removed. Part of the house plan is for a new attached garage that would have its new curb cut. So the accessory structure there today would be changing a bit. The overhead doors would be replaced with access doors, and a green roof is proposed. There's a railing around the top to meet building code standards as well. No active part of the roof. There's no deck proposed there, so on and so forth. The applicants brought this variance proposal to the Linden Hills Neighborhood Council, and the project was seen favorably. There is a letter of support from them in your packet. In granting variances, several findings must be met. Both the front and interior sides will be analyzed during these findings. First, challenges must exist in complying with the ordinance, and staff finds that there are challenges in complying with the ordinance. The lack of an alley, the change in topography make this pretty unique to this parcel. More, the existing structure in the front does serve as a retaining wall. While these aspects are unique, by removing the existing single family, all nonconformities are lost, and thus the applicant is creating the need for this variance. The next two findings staff is able to make. The next finding is regarding the use of the property, using the property in a reasonable manner. Staff finds that this finding is met. This is an existing garage. It's being converted into a bike storage area. The location remains the same. The views along the front yard remain unchanged. Due to the topography, the nature of, or the intent of the zoning code is to preserve views down the front yard. Given the change in topography, the existing structure, these views will remain as is. Staff also finds that the separation of uses are also maintained with the existing structure remaining. The last variance finding is around the essential character of the area. And again, this is an existing structure. Keeping it in place is not taking away from the essential character of this area. If granted, the proposed variance would not be detrimental to health, safety, or welfare of the general public. Staff found too that removing the overhead door so close to the lot line, keeping that as bike storage would be a net gain in terms of safety for the area. With that, staff recommends denial of both the front and interior side requests. I will note too, the actions state this is the north interior side lot line, when in fact this would be the south interior side lot line. I'll be here for questions. I'll leave the rendering provided by the applicants up here as well.
Thanks for the presentation, Mr. Liska. Are there any questions of staff? Yes, Ms. Van Squash.
Thank you. Excellent presentation. I'm just concerned, I didn't quite follow the sideline. I thought the side was on the north side. Is on the, you're talking about the south side garage piece?
That's correct.
So the north side is fine. It remains the 5-foot separation. It remains the 5 foot. Okay.
Yep, there's no aspect in the north side yard setback. The home is meeting all of the required setbacks. It's just the location of that existing detached garage. And again, that's the front yard and the south interior side yard.
Okay, and then my other question is that they gave us some good photos, like on 2507 Drew. That's an existing garage. So again, it's the same situation, but they didn't remove the structure, and so that's why the new applications don't go into effect, right?
I can't speak specifically to that one. I can take
Got
a
it.
look at what that photo
Okay,
looks like.
Yeah.
But yeah, if there's an existing structure in the front yard like that, typically they either received a variance if it was new, or it was constructed, back in the 1930s, 40s, when a lot of these were built. Two, you will see some homes that look relatively new. Zoning analyzes the scope of demolition and limits that to 60%. If it's over 60%, it would be seen as a new home. There are some houses that have existing nonconformities like this, where they would keep their demolition to, say, 55%, so that existing nonconforming structure would retain those rights.
Any other questions of staff? Mr. Eichholz?
Yeah. So if the variance requests were denied and they went forward with the project, they'd have to remove this building, and then they would still need to build like some sort of a retaining wall. Is that correct?
That is correct. Some retaining wall would be needed in that location.
Okay. Thank you. That answered my question.
Any other questions? I see none. Thank you. Let's open the public hearing. Is the applicant present or the representative? If you could limit your comments, we've seen the material, we've read the material, so if you could limit your comments to 10 minutes, that would be great.
Sounds good. Hi, my name is Rachel Alexander, and I'm an architect with Christopher Strom Architects.
Could we get your address too? I should have
Oh.
mentioned that.
The
Whatever the address of your firm is fine.
yes. Do you need that now, or
Yes,
3308 Gorham Avenue, St. Louis Park?
thank you.
The goal of this variance is to keep the existing tiny detached garage at 4513 Drew Avenue. Amanda and Rambo are requesting to keep the existing garage and convert it to a bike storage structure. This bike storage use supports Minneapolis's overall goals of increasing bicycling and limiting car trips. We will be improving the existing structure by painting it and replacing the overhead garage door with wood swinging doors for bike access. The existing curb cut will be removed. By reusing the existing structure, We are decreasing construction waste, and the proposed house only has a single-car garage. If the detached garage is not allowed to remain, we would need to replace it with a retaining wall and potentially expand the garage of the proposed home. The Linden Hills Neighborhood Council has written a letter in support, and the surrounding neighbors support the variance. Thank you.
Any questions? I see none. Thanks for your testimony. Would anyone else like to speak in favor of this application? I see no one. Would anyone like to speak against the application? I see no one. Let's close the public hearing. Board comment? Anyone? Mr. Eichholz?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll kind of speak to just kind of my first, upon, viewing it and just kind of overall. Yeah, I definitely, of course, the project looks really great on its face and everything. I like the adapted reuse, just personally. I am concerned with the fact that they would have to remove that and build a retaining wall. That slope does seem to me to be a potential challenge, and I think I'm leaning towards supporting granting this variance request, but I'm very open to kind of hearing what everybody else's thoughts are, but that's kind of where I'm at to kick things off.
Thanks for those comments, Mr. Eichholz. I will say that just to frame the conversation, staff has pretty much agreed with all of the findings except for the fact the non-conforming rights have been lost here. And when that happens, something has to be unique about the property, not the house or the cost or the garage or what it's going to become. Something has to be unique about the property itself for us to find for that first finding. Mr. Hutchins and then Grant Korsch.
Thanks, Chair Perry. I guess the unique circumstance I see about this project, if it was just holding back natural grade behind it, I would say that's not, that would not be significant enough to call that an impediment. But the fact that the residence next door is so close, to remove the garage, it could affect the neighboring property enough. I looked it up on Google Maps, and the house is pretty dang close to what that is, a retaining wall garage. I think those facts together is enough, in my opinion, to grant the variance and find findings. The residence proximity to the retaining wall garage necessitates keeping it instead of tearing it down and building another one. In that process, you may disturb the next door neighbor's physical property.
So just for clarification for myself, so instead of tearing it down and putting a retaining wall, you think something would happen in the process of tearing it down?
Yep, that's
Is that
exactly
the issue?
it. Yep, that's exactly
Okay.
it. Yep.
Okay.
Just the vibration you create. I mean, play out the scenario of them tearing it down. The vibration you're going to create and the slope having nothing to holding it back could absolutely undermine the foundation next door. Solution to that would be to pound piles or sheet piling. That vibration on a residential project is ridiculous, and age of homes, they said the 30s and 40s, that's definitely going to shake a home next door. That could create the issue itself. In trying to solve the issue of holding it back, then you're creating another issue. I just think it is safer for the property next door, if nothing else, coupled with its holding back the foundational soil of the next door neighbors. To me, that's enough between the two. But I'd love to hear if anybody else got an opinion on it.
Thank you. Ms. Grant Korsch.
Actually, I was going to chime in on a similar piece on that because I'm very concerned that while we talk about the need for being environmentally friendly, here's a great example of somebody who's being within the rules and regulations for the existing house, and I think that it's fair that they've done that, and we shouldn't be penalizing them for adding in more construction debris to the environment, as well as it is really close to the property line existing now, and it could pose issues for the adjacent house. So I am concerned about this too, even though I appreciate the fact that staff did what it was supposed to do, and that's laudable. But at the same time, I think that's the perfect reason why this board exists, to allow for some minor variations when there's good reason to keep it and from an environmental standpoint, I applaud them for trying to reuse the structure.
Thank you for those comments. Anybody else? Mr. Johannesson.
Thanks. I agree with the comments I've heard. I just think we need to find something that gets us past that hump. I believe the grade is an issue, and the grade of the property itself, right? The conditions of the property itself and of the adjacent property may put this in a place like that too. So that's where I stand.
Thanks for those comments. Anyone else? Yes, Ms. Wang.
I'm going to make a stab at this attempt to try to address both variances A and B to go against staff findings. And I guess the argument for number one, challenges that they're encountering is any major changes to the property would be detrimental to the property itself and the neighboring property next door, and that itself presents as a yep. I'm still working on this. That's all my comments.
Okay.
Still thinking this through.
You can come back.
Anybody
We
would
can
like
come
to
back
finish?
to you if you finish up that thought. Anyone else? Yes, Mr. Hutchins.
I'd make a motion, if the chair would allow it, to, notwithstanding staff findings, but with the grant of variance to both A and B under the pretense that the practical difficulty is the proximity of the neighboring property home and the natural grade risk of letting go on that home.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
There is a motion and a second, and I'd like to hear from staff on that.
Just before the motion, can we clarify that it is to the south interior lot line?
Absolutely.
B currently notes north. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. To the south.
All right. Is there any other comment on the motion or discussion on the motion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Getting this all on my screen. And also, I haven't mentioned this before, but with these new mics, we have to be really close to this to make sure that we get picked up both on the recording and also for the captioners for accessibility and everything. So thank you for your help with that. With that, Board Member Callahan.
Aye.
Eichholz.
Aye.
Grants Korsch.
Aye.
Hutchins.
Aye.
Ingram.
Aye.
Johannesson.
Aye.
Smikarova.
Nay.
And Wang.
Aye.
So we have 7 ayes and 1 nay.
So that motion passes. Your requests are approved. Good luck with your project. We'll move on to any new business or old business. Are there any new business, Mr. Liska?
Chair Perry, no new business.
Okay, or any old business? I don't think we have any. And our next meeting is May 2nd, 2024, in this room. And I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.